I'm suing her because I believe she acted in bad faith. I believe that she had no intention of fulfilling her agreement. We had a contract for her to donate an egg to me. She was actually supposed to be able to donate 15 eggs to me, and I paid her $6,400. I'm seeking that in reimbursement. $3,400 of it is in medical expenses, and another $3,000 in incentives that I offered her. She defrauded me, Your Honor. This has been a very long process for me. I have tried for many years to become a parent. It's been a lifelong dream of mine. And I believe that she acted in bad faith and had no intention of fulfilling the agreement.
All right, do you have a copy of the agreement?
I do, yes, Your Honor.
May
I have
see
a
it,
copy.
please?
Yes.
May I have your entire folder, please?
Thank you. So how did you even meet or have the occasion to make an agreement with Ms. Bradshaw? You obviously wanted to have a child. You needed a woman to donate eggs. Have you been a surrogate? Have you donated eggs before?
No, ma'am.
All right. How did you all know each other?
She's the cousin of my neighbor, Susan, a good friend of mine I've lived next to for many years. And Susan knows the hardship that my husband and I have gone through for years trying to have a child. And she recommended her cousin Isis. She said that her young cousin was interested in being an egg donor, had a genuine interest in fulfilling this role for desperate parents like myself.
Was this your first time being an egg donor, or
Yes,
you done
ma'am.
this before?
No, I've never done it before.
Did you have interest in being an egg donor?
Yes, Your Honor.
So when they approached you, you were interested in doing this, you executed this contract?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you say she breached the contract by not donating her eggs?
Correct.
Tell me what happened and how you got to that point.
Yes, Your Honor. So I paid all the expenses to hire a lawyer to draft the legal contract that we signed together. And in that agreement, she was supposed to go through at most 2 retrieval processes.
2 retrieval processes.
And in the interest of trying to obtain 15 viable eggs. And in that time, we became friends. I became a bit of a big sister to her. I know that she lost her mother at a young age, and her father has dementia, so she doesn't have a lot of parental guidance. And it was going to be a mutually beneficial situation. We went into a contract, and about 3 days...
What does that have to do with her eggs?
It doesn't, Your Honor, but I believe that we had a relationship. I could have gone through a service like an agency, but it's very costly.
But you felt there was a possibility for you to have a more personal connection with Ms. Bradshaw.
Correct, and likewise for her to have that connection with us as well.
Okay. Tell me about this process. You execute this agreement.
We did, and in that agreement, it says that she can terminate it at any time, but that there are conditions to the termination. 3 days after we signed the contract, though, Your Honor, she contacts me saying that she has reservations. She's very nervous about the process and doesn't want to do it now. And
she contacts you via phone, or she writes this down?
Via phone. And she expressed that she was concerned with something called ovarian hypersensitization syndrome.
All right, so Ms. Bradshaw, I want to go to you. Did you make that call 3 days after executing this contract?
Yes,
you said
Your
you
Honor.
were uncomfortable.
I was, Your Honor.
Tell the court why you felt uncomfortable in your own words.
I did some further research, and I saw that ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome can cause me not to be able to have kids later in life. And I really did want to help. I wanted to donate, but I had reservations. So I called, and she told me, let's go to dinner, and she talked me back into it. I agreed. Then we went forward with it until I started the process.
You started the process. What did you start? What did you do exactly?
It's HCG, and you inject it, and it makes it so your eggs are easy to transport into someone else.
So you started the medications?
I did.
Correct.
All right. And how many rounds of medication did you have?
I only made it 3 days.
She's supposed to, Your Honor, if I may interject, she's supposed to take 10 days of human chorionic gonadotropin injections, HCG. It's a growth hormone that helps the woman's eggs be released en masse.
All right, so on the third day, what happened? Why did you give up?
Well, folks, this one sounds like it's going to be a little bit crazy. And I got to say one thing. I think it's beautiful when someone wants to have a child, they do whatever they can, even if they have hardships trying to figure out a way to have a child. So in this case, she found somebody, a neighbor's, younger cousin, who can give her eggs so that she can have a baby. But this is the thing that's strange to me. This woman here seems like she might be a little bit late in the game on trying to discover how to find the surrogacy pregnancy. Now, of course, there's never an end to when you should and shouldn't. Now, the contract did say that she could back out for any reason, and she had some reservations that I actually think are genuine reservations. If she's going to help someone else have a kid and it risked her ability to have future children for herself later on, then of course there's an issue here. I totally understand. So in my opinion, I find this to be a very strange situation, and I think that she has a chance that she could win this case if she could prove that she backed out and broke contract. I so far don't know if that's going to be the case, but I want to know what you guys think about this.
You gave up.
I gave up on the process, and then
You called her, you wrote her a letter, you
called
sent her an
her.
email, and you said, I can't do this.
I said, I can't do this. And she said, okay, let's talk. And we did. The side effects were really hard. It was like the worst for the first round because in the contract, if I start the medication, I have to pay for it. But she said that I didn't have to do it this round.
Your Honor, if I may interject, it's because I still had faith in her commitment to the project. I feel as though our time and our resources have been strung along in bad faith by this young woman. And
Why do you feel like it's bad faith? If she said before the process,
but then she started the process.
Well,
you're right,
because
it had
you
been
took
before,
her
Your Honor.
to lunch and you kind of tried to talk her back through the process to encourage her to do it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so then she said, oh, okay, I'll try. Only to 3 days after trying the medication say, I don't want to do this.
Correct. And so I went with her to her doctor. I said, I've been through it myself, and the hypersensitization syndrome really only affects less than 1% of all participants. It's not a risky procedure at all for her, but I understood her concerns, and having been through it myself, I wanted to alleviate her concerns.
Your agreement states that termination of the agreement prior to the beginning beginning the medication.
Correct.
Will result in no further obligations otherwise, and any previously incurred medical expenses shall be the responsibility of the party that incurred them.
Correct. So if she had not started them at all, if she had expressed her concerns and then had terminated the contract at that time, that would have been under that portion of the agreement. But once we met for dinner and we had, bonded and taken some time to get to know each other, and I had been there for her, the doctor advised, here are some medications to alleviate the side effects.
It also says terminations, the donor shall promptly notify the recipient in writing.
Correct.
Of her decision to terminate. Did you notify them in writing?
I called her. So no, I didn't, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Bradshaw, you've got clear language in an agreement that you signed. And so when you felt uncomfortable, you did not follow what the agreement stated and notify someone in writing?
No, I called her and she said it was okay. And she took me to the doctor, and the doctor looked at me and he said, next time you do it, here's all of this medication so it won't be as bad. And she said she'd cover it this time so I could do it the next time. And I said, okay. And so we prepped for it. In 2 months, I would do the injections again. And then about a month after that, I said, I'm having second thoughts, or it's just really hard. And she said, no, let me take care of you, let me take care of you. I was like, no, you've been taking care of me so much, I feel bad. And she said, what's one of your dreams? And I said, I don't know, to leave the country. And she said, where? And I said, Paris. And the next day she shows up with this trip to Paris and in a hotel paid for. And I said, thank you, because I thought it was a really kind gift.
Your Honor, these were incentives to try to keep her.
But you didn't say they were incentives. I thought they were gifts.
I never used the word gift. I was trying to encourage you to stick with our contract. I wanted you to be there in this process.
You were trying to make her feel relaxed, more comfortable.
Yes, Your Honor. I brought her chicken soup when she was sick.
I can see how upset you are. You really wanted these eggs. You wanted to have a child.
Oh, with every fiber of my being, Your Honor.
So you took her on a trip?
I bought the trip for her to say, when we finish this process and we can all rejoice in this beautiful child.
How much was this trip?
Your Honor, I spent $1,000 on a round-trip ticket to Paris for Isis. I also spent $1,000 on 5 nights hotel, beautiful Eiffel Hotel. I wanted her to have a good time after what she had done for my husband and me.
I'll say, did you go on the trip, Miss Bradshaw?
Not yet, ma'am.
You didn't go on the trip.
No.
But they're non-refundable. The ticket and the hotel
Okay,
are
but that's
non-refundable.
you decided to buy non-refundable tickets. I don't even know why you would buy non-refundable tickets to a person that's already showed you she can barely live up to the one agreement that you're in already. She's already nervous.
You're correct, Your Honor, in that I may have been sentimental about ISIS.
And these tickets are outside the confines of the agreement. All of the language in the agreement, nothing says anything about it. And if the person gives trips, they're going to be refunded. Now, in the agreement, I'm seeing that it says that if the agreement is terminated after the start of the medication,
Correct.
any previously incurred medical expenses shall be the responsibility of the party who incurred them.
That's why I'm seeking the $3,400, because I'm seeking reimbursement since she started the first 3 days of those HCG injections.
You said that was covered by you.
It was covered if you completed the process.
You didn't specify.
But wait a
But the
minute,
contract specifies
this
it.
line in the agreement, it's saying that if it's terminated after the start of the medication, meaning she said she didn't want to do it and she terminates after the start of the medication, any previously incurred medical expenses shall be the responsibility of the party who incurred them. You had incurred the expenses.
Well, I believe she incurred them because they were for her. The expenses were for her. Medical insurance for her.
But you bought them for me.
You signed this agreement. Did you read it when you signed it?
I did.
Did you get a lawyer?
She hired a lawyer for me.
We had lawyers representing both of us drafting the contract.
You hired a lawyer to represent Ms. Bradshaw?
She didn't have any funds to provide her own lawyer, so I provided it.
All right, so you paid legal fees for her to have her own lawyer?
Yes.
Did your attorney explain this to you?
He explained it to me, but I asked her if it was going to be my fault that I stopped taking it, and she told me that she'd cover it, and I thought a verbal agreement would be enough.
Well, I told you I would cover it, Isis, because we were still in the process. You
didn't say that.
I did. I tried to convince you that it would be okay, and then you agreed to go forward with it.
Okay.
That was after the dinner that we had. And then I bought her a trip to Paris. I felt like I had to keep checking on her. I wanted to make sure her well-being was okay.
I'm not a child.
No, you're not a child, Isis.
Listen. When you're dealing with something as sensitive as this, as personal as this, right? This is no small claim. This is about a woman's body and the fact that she's offering up eggs to you. I know this makes you upset, Ms. Hollister, and I can imagine how desperately you want a child. And you had this in your mind. You had an agreement. You thought it was a go. You know,
Every time my baby just keeps being taken away from me in this situation. It's been years, Your Honor. I feel like we were duped, misled.
Well,
Let alone
no,
misled.
Ms. Hollister, I can understand you're upset, and I understand how devastating this is to you. But we're not going to go there and say Ms. Bradshaw duped you because she told you before she ever took medication she was having second thoughts. What responsibility do you have in this, in that you knew she was getting cold feet, yet you continue to try to convince her to do something she didn't want to do?
Well, but she signed a contract which indicated to me from the onset, based on her expressed interest in being an egg donor
You
and helping.
pushed me to.
All right.
I never would have contacted you if your cousin
you
hadn't
called me
told
again and again and again, asking me, "Oh, did you
All
want
right,
to do?"
I've heard enough. When you had second thoughts and when you were deciding maybe I shouldn't do this, your real move should have been not to just reach out to Ms. Hollister first, because you know what her position's going to be. It should have been to reach out to the attorney that helped walk you through this contract to see what are my rights. And any attorney worth their salt would have been said, get done now, get out now, because you're not going to owe anything. Instead, you called the very person who is desperate to have a child and let her talk you into going back in and doing it. When you sign an agreement, you have to know what it says. And if you're confused about what it says, you have to ask an attorney. I really don't like the fact that Ms. Hollister paid for your attorney, but I do understand that as an attorney, you are supposed to represent your client vigorously under the law. And so I can only say that attorney explained everything to you. You said that they did.
Yeah, they did. But we were so close. Why would I not believe her? That she was.
Believe me.
Believe her. She wanted you to continue with the process. So this case is problematic for me because Ms. Hollister, in your testimony, you indicated that this is a young woman that doesn't have a lot of parental guidance, does not have a lot of support. And there is a part of me that does not like the fact that you and your lawyers got this young girl in a position where she's entering into an agreement where she really did not fully understand how incredibly specific this contract was, but also in what this really means in terms of donating parts of her body, her eggs, to another person. So even though as a woman, I do not like the fact where I would have to say, you know, you've got to see this agreement through and donate eggs, unfortunately, the contract is exactly what the contract is. You owe her for the medical expenses and money she spent for you to take those medications thus far in the process, and you did breach that agreement. With that said, judgment for the plaintiff for $3,726.04. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $3,726.04.
ISIS, I didn't want this to ever happen like this.
You took advantage of
Oh, I think you took advantage of us.
Don't ever talk to me again.
Okay, you've had your day in court. Please grab your belongings and follow.